Welcome back into the workshop for I'm not going to say early morning, it's a mid-morning Dave's Diary update. A windy, raining, blustery old day out there it is too, and it's lovely in the workshop. So, drawers for the Mitre station. I've just cut the base for that, fitted it to the box, and can I say I'm liking it. The ability to use the trim router in a dimensioning role, I think every workshop should have one. It allows me, the trim router and in this case the parallel arm, or whatever method you'd be using, but the ability to sneak up on the end result in fractions of a millimetre, reliably, accurately and repeatedly, is a major plus. Any system, doesn't have to be parallel arm, but I do like this. Any system that can achieve this end result must be a plus for a workshop. I think this Sketchy Builder combo is pretty darn good, to be fair. And running the white panel past the rail of the parallel arm, dead smooth, nicely supported along its whole length. Everything about it is really nice. The observation is the router gives a superior finished edge than would a table saw. Good table saws and good blades more critically is that they will give a very nice finish, but I would perhaps just pose it as a question. I think the router would give a better one. Just saying. By its nature, it is easier to get the sharp, crisp, square, important edges from the router rather than a table saw. And if I have to replace the router bit, it's a little bit cheaper than replacing a table saw. Now, no, this is not for cutting down material. That's for that little tool there. But this whole combo is working so flaming well. I shouldn't say I'm surprised at how well it works, but nonetheless, I'm very pleased with its results. The beauty is, like when I was cutting this panel, I was able to sneak up on the measurement because it was a little bit out initially from the track saw cut, not due to its problem, but the way I cut it. But I was able to sneak up on the measurement using the threaded rod, the 1mm increments, in ever so slight fractions of a millimetre. And in some cases it was. Quarter of a mil, I was sneaking up on it at one stage because I wasn't too sure what was happening, whether by inserting it, would I stress the actual joint of the box itself, because after all, it's only held together by one screw in each piece and then two dowels. So I was able to sneak up on it and hold it together. Now, you might ask, well, that's not very strong, having just one screw on each side. And I'll go, well, I haven't put the base in yet, and there will be screws and dowels in that as well. So the whole thing will be very well held together. And besides which, on those bases the other night, I was sitting on them, so and my weight, considering how heavy that was, a test and a half, but I was just sitting on them making a video of this, and I was just sitting on them like down there, and they didn't move. So that's been bum tested. And it passed, fortunately. Anyway, sneaking up on it, the panel went in. I've just tapped it into place with the wee hammer, got it nice, and it looks really, really good. I would say it is close to what a joinery cabinet shop would be able to produce, pretty much, because of the fact that I'm using a router to finish the edges rather than a saw. And that has allowed me to do that. Yay. So all in all, very, very happy. what I did do, I cheated a little bit on the one of the cuts because they're 430 by 600. Excuse the croaky voice. Weather. So what I did, rather than alter this parallel arm setup too much, I got a series of packers, these here. So I had some of the arms left over for the rails here. That was 100 mils. That's 50 mils, and that's about something. So and that's just a rule. So I packed them out, and it meant I only had to move the threaded rod by a few millimeters. It was lucky, and I actually like that idea as well, rather than having to change everything because I was going backwards and forwards between the two measurements. So that was like really, really easy. Just a practical way of doing things in the workshop. So yeah, it's I like it. I like it a lot. Very, very stable because of the nature of where the arms are, and as I say, nice and long to support the material. And in fact, I had the black box section here is just about 2.4 meters long, and I just used that on the saw and run my panel up against it. So all in all, very good. In fact, that was part of an MFT jig that I'd had quite a few years ago. All done. That's why they've got the holes at 100 mil centres on that as well. So anyway, now it's to make the other two box bases. One of the questions I posed myself is this a bit of fine furniture? No. Should I? The correct answer is yes, but am I going to hide the dowels? Like in the end here, I can use the dowel jig to set a position for the dowels, excuse me again, and hide them. Don't mind having the screw go through because that's the nature of the screw, but hide the dowels around the perimeter of the drawer. Now I did that with these drawers and those drawers and the unit I'm sitting on, but I'm thinking, why? Because it's not going to be seen a lot and it's not fine furniture. It's a bit of a it's utilitarian drawer, just made with better materials than my previous ones. Why can't I just drill straight through with the dowels, pop the dowels in, a couple of screws, and I'm done? I'm very, very tempted to do that because really, if I pull the drawer out and you come down here, all you can see is the screws here, but they're actually doweled on the inside, hidden. So to what advantage is... Oh, come on, you weren't looking in the right direction. Come on, people. Ah, there we go. My apologies. You can see the screws, along the side there, as I was just talking about, but the dowels are hidden because I did them on the inside and the right depth and etc. So what downside is there just to have the dowels going through as well? Far quicker, easier, with very little downside other than the aesthetics, which shouldn't be really playing much of a role in a drawer out in the workshop. You know the answer, really. Look, do it as well as you can. Well, okay, I'll give an answer to my own question. It's good practice. If I put pull it apart, which is, it's easy to do, and hide the components as much as possible, it is good practice for the times that you do want to do this sort of assembly process. And after all, there will be times when I won't want even screws shown. And excuse the train going past. Sometimes there will be times, no doubt, that I'll glue everything together, the dowels that is, and want to make a slightly more refined box. So for that reason, I'm probably going to take the slow road and hide the dowels at least. So, God, you weren't very helpful for me this morning, were you? The front ones, this is to say the front edge, I could do it along here because there'll be the front of the actual drawer going on it to hide everything, and you'd never see it. The back one, well, it's the back one. You're never going to see it. Side ones, so what I'm saying is that I'm probably going to hide them. All said and done for practice. But yeah, can you see the join in this? Oh, and you feel it, and it's just like, oh, it's lovely. Ditto with the joins here. There's a little bit of a lip there. It might be a tenth of a mil or something. Yeah. So not 100%, but I tell you what, if you got that and it was from a furniture store, you wouldn't be stressing over it, I can tell you. So, yeah, yippee. Okie dokie, that's it. Better get some more work done, get this drawer done, get the other ones done, get them in place, and start populating the drawers with some of the stuff. So, yeah, that'll be good. I had a little bit more look at the MITRE station type setup. I looked at the guy that I refer to a lot, Dennis from Hooked on Wood, in particular. Not only, but him in particular. And Harry made a dust extractor for his MITRE station. He's gone all out, and he's got a very, very nice setup. One that I would like to have myself, but I'm happy with where I'm going now. But getting rid of the dust would be a major benefit. Unfortunately, I can't retrofit this one with all of the dust collection that he had down on the base, but I might try something up top there, even if it gets some of the dust extracted. Yeah, got some thoughts on that, and I'm wondering why I'm not getting better extraction out of this thing, because it has got a good amount of suck in it, and I'm wondering whether all of the cyclone part of it is robbing it, and or the fact that they're all the the ringed spiral hoses causing all the friction to lose a lot of the efficiency. It does make me wonder, because it has got a lot of suck. As I say, it's the other day, it's a twin motor one, so yeah, it should do better than it is. No, there's not much loss in all the wee joints because they are friction fit, and no, not much there. So anyway, we will have to have a look at that, because it is a bit of a dust creator, that thing. Rightio, that's it. Off to do some more work and see how we get on, and see whether any more revelations occur using this. Really happy with it. Still in its development stage, actually. And I did make the comment about whether I would recommend people buying one of these cheap router lifts compared to the more expensive router lifts. And, I probably would still recommend it, which is odd, because normally if it's something's inferior or lesser, I'd want to go with the better one. That it costs more money is a bit of a penalty, but $80, $85 for that. It's a router lift, does quite a nice job. It's not as stable as I once thought, but I covered that in another video, and I still think, even though that is quite a desperate sort of move to make it work well, it works well. So why would you want to pay $280 compared to $80? And the question, I like posing questions and see what my gut reaction would be. And I posed the question, would I buy another one of those knowing its shortcomings? And the answer was yes. Then the next question is, would I recommend someone buying one of these, someone else, unknown to me? And the answer would, yes, I would recommend it if they were aware of the shortcomings and were happy to work towards the solution like I did. If you're not and you want something more elegant that works perfectly, well then pay the $280. I'd thoroughly recommend that path rather than this if you've got that sense of, well, it's supposed to be right. I don't want to muck around. I even mulled over the idea of getting one of those more expensive ones for the actual router station, which I said that last night in the video that I'd probably just get another one of those and put in it because it does work. One of the things that makes it work in this situation is it's completely open and it's easily accessed to put the shims in, but in the router station it's in a box and it may be more beneficial to use a more expensive one than this one. So I'd flip-flop. I'd persevere with that in the MITRE station, but now that it's working so well just on this plate, hey, I don't know. Still think it's good for the money. So for that reason, you wouldn't be too upset with that. But now that I've outlined a few of the shortcomings and the solutions, I think, fire ahead if you want to get one. Up to you. You have to put the big people's pants on, don't you, at some stage, and make the decision yourself. Rightio, that's it. Off to do that, and you weren't much help. You actually convinced me to do it the hard way, so I better go and do it. See you in the next one. Bye now.